your winner by way of strikes.
Yeah, I got in a bit of a fight. Now, in order to not be deceiving, this is not from the said fight. That fight was actually a couple months ago. I just haven't made any content about it. So here's some story time with your favorite man, Jarky Bacon. No, this has been the scars of me becoming the local justice dealer in my neighborhood. Is what I'd like to say, but it's actually just from my local rugby team when I wasn't able to catch the ball with my hands and instead decided to catch it with my noggin instead. And for those who don't know, I play rugby. That's the sport I play. That's the sport I watch. That's the guy thing I do, okay, outside of all this other stuff that you may find, right here, actually. And if you don't know much about rugby or about sports in general, there's generally an on and off season. And so during the summer in the UK, that's the off season because we like playing rugby in the rain where it's nice, slippy and muddy and freezing cold. Oh, I'm not looking forward to December. The issue is that over the summer, you find yourself, hey, I got my Saturdays back. And what do I do with myself? How do I stay in shape? How do I stay fit so that when the next year comes, I'm not a couch potato? Because rugby is a very physically demanding game. It's a very full body sport where you wake up the next day and you realize, I didn't realize I had muscles there that could get sore. And so I needed something to kind of replace that and keep me at that level. And lo and behold, one day I was scrolling Facebook. And before you ask, yeah, it was a bad day, okay? But I found myself coming across an advertisement for a local gym saying free training for 10 weeks. And oh boy, like the cheap man I am, I was like, free? That sounds good enough for me. But just before I signed myself up, I read a little bit more into it. I'm not that stupid. And turns out, okay, yeah, that whole 10 weeks is free, but you have to fight at the end of it. Thankfully though, that person you're fighting is also on that course. And this is a course solely for beginners, people who have never done any MMA before. And so I went in there and I was thinking to myself, what's more physically demanding than like MMA or boxing? You know, they seem to have intense cardio, which is exactly what I wanted for rugby, because I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm not a physical specimen. When it comes to rugby, I'm one of the smaller guys on the pitch. I'm like 80 kilos in weight, 5'9" on a good day if I had my beauty sleep, you know. I have not got that much going for me. And so I just need to be able to outlast and outwork people on the pitch. And so hopefully, if I go to this thing, it should be all right. There should be safety measures in check. And so I signed myself up for it. It was in a part of town I had not been in before. And you walk in and you see yourself waiting outside the gym with a bunch of other guys. And I realized to myself that this isn't the type of person I'm used to hanging out with. Lots of them are salt of the earth people, and it's not like I've never hung out with these types of people before. I grew up with some of them, but they definitely were a bit tougher, and definitely not my type of vibe, because I talk about animated Japanese Vikings on the internet. As a hobby. I'm gonna get fucked. But, you know, I talked to some of the guys, they all seem chill, but there's definitely a tension in the atmosphere, because you're going in there, oh, I smell a bit of testosterone. And you're looking around, you're like, yeah, all right, I could take that guy. Yeah, easy peasy. That guy, maybe not. Oh, definitely not that guy. Oh, that guy, he's on something. He's juiced to the gills. And the thing is, everybody's thinking this. Everybody's thinking to themselves, I gotta fight one of these guys at the end of this 10 weeks that we're on. This is where I realized that, yeah, things may be a little bit more loose around here. Now, any smart individual would be like, hold on here. Maybe I should just not continue doing this. But in my brain, I'm just like, you know, I'm having a good time. You know, the instructor seems to be quite nice. Sure, he's a bouncer. And he was talking about how he got into a fight with someone, you know, just that weekend. But he seemed like a nice enough guy to me. So I was chill with that. And yeah, so the weeks go by and you get to spar and meet some of the other fellas there. And turns out the vast majority of them absolutely sound, great time. No one's there to kick your head off. Everybody there is there to learn. So I thought, yeah, it's all right. I'm chilling. Until I start trying to do striking sparring with one of the fellas. While all these guys are nice, there is some sensitivity and emotional work that needs to be done on them. You have to manage emotions, because in any sport, when it gets physical, even in rugby or in any competitive environment, people get heated, and then people start, you start off light, and then you get a bit heavier, and a bit heavier, and a bit heavier, and you start going more and more and more. And so I found myself coming across one guy in my third week. He was a young fella, and he was about 10 kilos heavier than me, but he had been training beforehand. He wasn't going to be fighting in our group, but he had about a year's worth of experience. And so I wanted to try some grappling with him. And so we did some grappling. I was able to keep up with him, but honestly, he felt like he had a way out of everything. So all I could do is prevent him from winning because of my size and like probably being a bit stronger than him, but I couldn't win at all. I had no clue how to win. And so unfortunately, at the end of it, I found myself rolling him onto his head slightly and hurting him quite badly. And he was like definitely yelped, and he's definitely a tough kid. And I felt awful. I was like, mate, you sure you want me to give you water? Hey, I don't want any beef here. Make sure that he's okay. He's a young fella and he's very quiet. And so I'm not sure what's really going on his head. And then eventually both of us get called in to do some sparring. And that's when we start introducing striking into the mix. Now, let me just give you a bit of rundown on my skill set. Grappling was something I was much more comfortable with because it's much more similar to rugby. I'm used to picking guys up that are bigger than me, trying to slam them to the ground, and then trying to control over the top, and it just kind of came more natural to me. But striking, that was another thing, man. And I learned very quickly in this one little session. I was trying to jab, and bam, bam. Oh, I'm just getting hit in the head. Okay, jab. Oh, I'm trying to, boom. Oh, I'm just getting absolutely smoked by this kid. And he's just taking me apart, goes for my leg a little bit. We got shin pads on, so it's not too bad, but he kind of goes down looking at us, boom, oh, okay. And then it's like, yeah, calm down here. And, a bit of blood from the nose. Oh, wonderful. And that's just one of the stories where you're like, I hope he's chill, but he definitely got his revenge on me in that fight. And this was a consistent thing. My nose was bleeding after definitely quite a few sessions, probably about 5 different sessions, just because my striking was that poor. I was just leaving holes wide open. There was this big old Polish guy that was definitely on something, and I was like jabbing. I was trying to jab. He was going light with me, fair play. But one time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to lurch in, because I kept on lurching with my jab, and he extended his jab as well. And so I basically face planted into his punch. And I came back the next day. I was like, yeah, that is... Do I give up? Do I quit here? Like, it's not great. And after multiple sessions, I woke up with headaches, right? And these are worse headaches than I get after a rugby match. Generally, like, I've never been fully concussed or like out or knocked out, right? But for those who don't know, if you ever if you ever gone and worked out, you notice the next day that, I did bench press last night and my chest is feeling a bit sore, or I did leg day and man, I can barely walk, right? Same thing is for your head. You'll just have a headache because your noggin just got smashed. It's got bruised. It's moving around in that brain cage upstairs. And so I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'm losing IQ points doing this fitness for my rugby during the year. And so I think to myself, do I continue? Do I not? Well, this is where they kind of got me, because I was doing all this free training up until this point. It would be free if I fought at the end and I gave away, all the tickets, and, I sold enough tickets to make up for the money I did, right? By this point, I'm like owing them £200 because I've done 3 sessions a week. I've been there, and if I backed out now, I would have to pay them all that money. And so I'm thinking to myself, do I want to be giving them £200 now, or do I want to continue on? I mean, I've already done 6 weeks. Surely 4 more won't be that bad, right? But this is not how all good stories go. You saw the beginning. I stuck it out to the end. Fight night was on. And so, at the end of the week, I took a day off work because I'm just so anxious. I need to get there. Dude, I'm not a stressful person. You know, I'm not an anxious person. I'm not a neurotic person. But this definitely gave me some gray hairs. I'm about to fight another human being, fully trying to punch the daylights out of them for the first time ever. And so we do all this stuff. They're all getting set up. I get my health check, making sure I'm not going to get a heart attack on stage, all that stuff. Turns out one of the guys didn't turn up to fight. And so I found myself fighting another guy. We were about the same weight. We had trained a bunch. He was a super lovely guy. I even met his mum on the night. She was also really lovely. And so with me knowing my opponent, there's only one thing left to do. Walk out on stage to the sound of Tank.
Round one.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Good job! Woo! Oh, shoot!
Good, Jack. Come on, Jack. Come on, Jack.
Good job! Go on, Jack!
Yes, Jackie!
Seconds away as we move into round number 2.
Go, Jack! Yes, Jack! Yes, come on, Jack! Come on, Jack! Go, Jack! Go, Jack! Go, boy! Go on, Jack! OT! OTO! OTO! Yeah, baby! Go, Jack! Yeah! Good boy!
The winners are moving to round number 3.
Come on, Jack! Ground and pound, baby! Ground and pound! Rock his world! Go, Jackie!
Yeah, and so like that, I won. My analysis of the fight was that, kind of like in training, but I didn't realize afterwards, is that this guy, he just didn't stop. He had the fighting spirit that everybody wishes they had, right? He came in there and he just closed the gap, right? And most people I spar against, you kind of keep your distance, you're worried about their punches. He didn't care. He just came in there, bam, 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 bam. And at the end of the day, what saved me was not all the skills I'd spent the last 10 weeks trying, but was actually the 10 to 15 years of rugby instinct that took over when I dump tackled him a bunch of times. Because that may have looked and got a big reaction of a crowd, but that was actually an awful technique. There's so much energy wasted, and yeah, it was pretty poor fighting. I didn't even get any striking in. I made a massive whiff on one of my hooks, which was like my only punch that was any good. I got smashed in the face a bunch. But hey-oh, a W's a W. And I hope you found it interesting. Let me know if you did, if you want more content like this. And I'll see you guys next time on the Jarky Bacon channel. See ya.
Drop it.